Hi, welcome back to Miss Sogram's Maths. This video is going to take a look at the factor and remainder theorem. Now this is all about division, knowing that when things divide exactly we get a factor, and if they don't divide exactly, when we do that division we get a remainder. Now having said that, we don't actually do any division when we use the factor and remainder theorem. It's actually a way to avoid doing the division by knowing these things. Now we start with a polynomial. And I've put it in general terms. So A, B, C, D. This one is a cubic polynomial with our highest power being to the power of 3. That's the most common types of questions that you'll get with this. So that's why I've used this as an example. It doesn't only apply to cubics. It could be to the power of 4, to the power of 2. It could be all sorts of things. The rules of it will still be the same, but most often with these types of exam questions, it's going to use a cubic. The A, B, C, and D values would then be constants, some sort of number in there. It could be 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 7x plus 10, for example. And we might be told that this polynomial has a factor that would be in this sort of format. Usually it is put in brackets to help you kind of see that it's a factor. It doesn't have to be in brackets, but when you use it, you probably want to put it in brackets. Now, the k also represents a number. So this would be x plus 2 maybe, or it might be x minus 7. And then you know that this bracket is a factor of this polynomial. Now, if something is a factor of something else, it means that it divides exactly into it. And it has the nice property that you already know from quadratics, that if this is a factor, then x equals minus k is a root. And then what that means is that if I put minus k into this polynomial, it will go exactly into it and make the answer 0. Now this has all been quite abstract so far. I've just given this to you in terms of a general idea of numbers could go into this place, but this is probably easier to understand with an example. So let's take a look at one. Okay, so we're told that 2x plus 1 is a factor of this polynomial here, 2x cubed plus x squared minus 14x minus 7. So what does that mean for the factor theorem we were just looking at? So first of all, from this bracket, we take what the root would be from that. Just like when you did quadratics, if you got a factor out of that quadratic, you would then say, so therefore, x equals minus a half is a root. Okay, from this factor here. Set that bracket equal to 0, and you've got what your root is. Okay, so this was the same as what we were looking at just up here. X plus a number gives us x equals minus k as the root. Same thing here. So if we then substitute in minus a half into our polynomial here, it will give us the answer of 0 because this was a factor. So our polynomial we refer to as p of x, and we're going to do it for p of minus a half is equal to 2 times minus a half cubed plus minus a half squared minus 14 times minus a half minus 7. Right, we'll work through what that comes to. So let's pop that into the calculator. If we do 2 times minus a half cubed, that gives us minus a quarter. And then minus a half squared is a quarter, so that's going to be a quarter. Minus 14 times minus half is going to be a plus 7. Minus 7, and now you can see that all cancels out to 0. So when we know a factor, if we substitute in the root from that factor, we get the answer of 0. Now that is the factor theorem. So what about the remainder theorem then? It's very similar, but if we put a number into our polynomial and this comes out to a number that's not 0, it says that if we were to divide our polynomial by that bracket that we were given, We're being told it's not a factor because it doesn't come to 0, but the number that it does come to is the remainder of that division. So let me try write that out for you. So the number we get when we do the substitution at the end, in this case up here it was a 0, is the remainder when the polynomial is divided by that bracket. Now you can see why these two things are linked, because if that remainder is 0, it's divided exactly. There is no remainder, so therefore the thing you divided by was an exact factor. But if it's not an exact factor, the number you get at the end is the leftover part. It's how much was left. Okay, now let's have a look at how this actually gets used in an exam context with a couple of questions. Okay, so here is a question from a recent exam paper. We've been given the polynomial. We're told it gets divided by x plus 3. Now that is a word that sometimes throws students off when they think that they need to actually do the division here. But the clue here is we're told the remainder is 30. So we're immediately when you see that word remainder, you're thinking remainder theorem. It saves you doing the hard work of actually working through the division. Now there's a bit missing in the polynomial. We've got p here. We need to find the value of p if we know that this is true. So what this means is we take the x plus 3 and we're going to sub in minus 3. So p of minus 3 is equal to 2 times minus 3 cubed plus p minus 3 squared. Now it's important to note I've used this p here meaning polynomial, just shortening down this. So polynomial, when we sub in minus 3, it's not the same as this p here. Okay, so just carrying on now. We've got 7 times by minus 3 and then take away 3, and we're told the remainder is 30. So when we do that substitution, this will equal 30. Okay, so now you can pop out the calculator. We're going to do -3. Oh, wait, we're going to do 2 times -3 to the power of 3. That makes 54. Sorry, -54. Minus 3 squared is 9, so this will be 9p. 7 times minus 3 is minus 21. Minus 3 equals 30. So now 9p will be, let's do some rearranging here. We're going to go for 30 plus 3 plus 21 and then plus 54. There's 108. And then if we divide that by 9, we've got the answer that p is 12. And we've answered that question. Let's do another example of how this can be used. This one's a slightly harder question because it's got a bit more going on within it. So our polynomial, which they've actually called f of x in this one, has the same remainder when divided by x minus 2 as it does as when it's divided by x plus 1. We're also told that x plus 2 is a factor, and from all this information we can work out the values of a and b. Okay, so let's work through it in order. We've got the same remainder when divided by x minus 2 as we get when we divide by x plus 1. So what this means is if we substitute in 2, so f of 2 will be give us the same number as if we substitute in minus 1. Okay, so let's write out what that will look like. So 2 cubed plus 3 times 2 squared plus a times 2 plus b will be equal to, if we put in a minus 1 cubed plus 3 times minus 1 squared plus a times minus 1 plus b. And let's tidy that up. And we can see that the b's cancel. We'll have 2a plus a gives us 3a. And 20 moved over to the right-hand side, it's going to make a minus 18. So a is equal to minus 9. So we've got one of the values. We can't get the b value from this one because they cancelled out, but we can use this other piece here stating that x minus 2 is a factor. So if x plus 2 is a factor. So if that's a factor, then we know that f of minus 2 will equal 0. Now let's pop that into our polynomial. So minus 2 cubed plus 3 times minus 2. Now a we just worked out was minus 9, so this will be minus 9 times minus 2 plus b. Now if it's an exact factor, then it means that when we substitute that in, we get it equal to 0 from the factor theorem. Okay, now tidying that bit up, we get minus 8 plus, minus 6. Oh, and I've just realised I missed out the squared just there. So that's not going to be a minus 6, that'll be a minus 12. No, it'll be a plus 12. And then minus 18 plus b equals 0. We work through and rearrange that. We get b is equal to 14. So we've got our two answers of a equals minus 9 and b equals 14. It's a beautiful little pair of useful theorem there to use the factor and remainder theorem together without actually needing to do any of the hard division.